Welcome back to the Higher Form Podcast. We're here every week having real conversations with leaders, coaches, and everyday people about what it takes to become your best. We know life will test you, and we're here to share practical tips, tools, and relatable stories to help you build the highest form of your life. Today we're going to be talking about aerobic health and conditioning for life. This is something that we've touched on a little bit before, but being gym owners, a lot of what we focus on is helping people get strong. And conditioning, cardio, is kind of like what most people think of, but being more specific today, we'll dive into why it is important to build your aerobic base.
Yeah, I think cardio gets a bad rap, right? And it has historically, especially for women, like cardio bunnies and all I do is run and HIIT training and stuff like that. So we're going to dive into aerobic fitness and capacity is not just like cardio and running necessarily, and how to be strategic and why it's important to include it in your health journey, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of momentum around the strength training side of things in the fitness industry, and I think it's important to continue that momentum because there's definitely more movement skill required to be able to get strong. But like strength training, if you don't have the focus on building your aerobic capacity, and that's like your body's ability to utilize and uptake and use oxygen as energy, there's definitely a lot of like downsides to not paying attention to that. And I think that you get people that, like you said, are either on one end of the spectrum or the other. Like I go to the gym, I get on the cardio and I do that for 45 minutes and then I stretch and do some core and get out.
Yeah.
Or you get the people that are like, I go to the gym and I lift weights and I might do like 10 minutes of cardio.
Well, and we've been on mostly the latter end of the spectrum here.
Yeah.
I've done bodybuilding shows and I had to do cardio for that, but that was like stair stepper cardio.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like I'm going to go run 3 miles. It was like lower intensity cardio machines to just like burn calories, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's just so many different ways that people have played with cardio, experienced working their aerobic capacity. So like what we're going to really dive into today is why you need to include conditioning and cardio or aerobic fitness into your strength training and health plan, because you need it. It's a piece of the puzzle, but let's talk about why and how.
Yeah. Well, it seems like a fitting time. The weather's getting warmer.
Yeah.
We're in the Midwest, so things are starting to feel a little more spring-like, and I think it's an easy time to get outside and get moving. And we've talked about this before, but like nature has its own healing effect, and we'll talk about running probably a decent amount just because it's the thing that we've been getting into more for our cardiovascular exercise. And I think it's like just seems fitting to bring this up now because, you know, what we're really trying to do is help people understand the holistic approach to being healthy and performing well and body composition, all the things that go along with it. And
longevity,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think cardio is an interesting topic right now because it is getting warmer outside.
Yep.
And the first thing people are like, I'm going to go for a run. And they haven't ran in months.
Yep.
Right. And they're just like, I'm just going to go out and just run. I'm like, okay, that's great. But let's not just like do that all the time. Let's like have a plan or a strategy of like, well, how are you going to run? Why are you running? What does that look like?
Yeah.
Right.
And I think there's layers to it, right? Like step one is just going out and moving.
Totally.
Getting more steps in. And if it's something you intend to keep doing, it's got to be, to get the most out of your efforts and the time that you're spending doing it, it's got to be a little more strategic. So.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, we talked about strength training being crucial. And I think one of the best examples of like how they both play a role is strength is going to build your structural longevity and efficiency. It gives you the musculature to really help your body handle higher effort tasks in regards to like the output for power and, you know, being able to have the brute force to move things around or just get by. But if you have all the strength in the world and all the muscle in the world, but you can't do that over a very long period of time, the strength will only get you so far.
Yeah.
So when you think of it from a performance standpoint, yes, you need to build muscle. So none of this is saying stop lifting weights.
No, you still need to lift weights.
Still get your strength training in, minimum like 3 days a week, 45 minutes each, right? But adding some form of aerobic conditioning in there, typically on days that maybe you're not strength training, are usually the best.
Or just at least splitting up when you're strength training and when you're doing some fitness. Cardio fitness.
Cardio fitness. Yeah.
You know.
Aerobic fitness. Yeah. And when we say aerobic, they're things that are lower intensity. It's
Yeah.
not going out and like sucking wind because you're pushing too hard. That can be an incline walk, a bike ride. It can be walking hills,
Yeah.
it can be jogging, it can be whatever, but really
Swimming.
building, swimming,
Yeah.
yeah, some more lower impact stuff there too.
Hmm.
It's really about building your internal systems, your heart, your cardiovascular system collectively,
Hmm.
your body's ability to be more efficient from an endurance standpoint,
Yeah.
so that you have the ability to like go for a longer period of time in whatever area of life that might be. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. It's just going to support the rest of your journey
Yep.
too, right? Like I said, it's a piece to the puzzle. Like it's one component of your overall health and fitness
Yeah.
that gets neglected. People don't want to do it. It's hard. It's not nearly as fun as lifting or other forms of like activity. Just going out for a run it's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, just straight up.
Yeah. Well, especially if you're not used to it,
Yes.
but I have had people that come in that look at lifting in the opposite direction, right? Recently had some labs redone and just was talking to the practitioner that was reviewing them with me. And I was like, yeah, one of the things I'm really trying to do is start running more often. And he's like, well, what's been your limiting factor for that? And I was like, consistency.
Going out
And
and
I was like,
doing
I've been
it.
lifting weights for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And of course, I feel strong. That's not my limiting factor. If I'm looking at holistically improving my fitness, I don't need more muscle mass. I don't need to be stronger. Those
Yeah.
things aren't limiting from doing 95% of the things that I want to do.
You're pretty balanced.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like if you really want to look at peak, I'm going to perform better in a strength competition
Mm-hmm.
than I will any type of endurance competition that lasts more than like 15 minutes because it's about power and short bursts. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And that's aerobic fitness,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, like anything, the best way we can tell a story or share our version of things is through our own experiences. And
Yeah. And what we're personally going through right
yep,
now, right? So
yep,
like you said, you've lifted for like 20 years. I've lifted for 15, I don't know, somewhere around there.
yeah.
I mean, we lifted in high school for the
Yeah, I literally
sport.
started when I was in middle school, but really didn't get serious about it until I was probably like a sophomore in high school,
High
which would have
school.
been
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Oh my gosh, don't even talk about it. 15, 20 years ago, we started lifting for sport, and then we both played college sports, which had lifting and some forms of conditioning for your sport, particularly, right?
Most of the conditioning that I experienced felt kind of like borderline death.
Yeah.
Just,
Like suicides
yeah,
and
high
running.
intensity
Yeah.
conditioning. We didn't really do any base conditioning when I was in college. It'd
Yeah.
have been wildly beneficial for us, but
Yeah.
like we didn't do zone two work in
No.
college. It was get to the line from here
I
or
think it
from this
depends
line to
on your
that line as
sport.
fast
I
as you
mean, your
can.
sport was football, so that makes sense.
It's a
Obviously,
power sport.
basketball players do more conditioning,
Yeah, but
soccer
even
players do
then,
more
like Nate could tell you,
conditioning.
they didn't probably do low intensity conditioning.
No.
He's shaking his head
He
no.
said no.
Like he
Nate
played
said
basketball,
no.
yeah. And it's one of those
I
things
played
where
volleyball. We just did like sprints, suicide stuff and maybe a couple 800s and things here and there, but it was never anything more than that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that contextually it makes sense because the goal when you're a college athlete is not necessarily health first, it's performance first.
Yeah.
So when you think about like
And your skill needs to be top notch, right?
correct.
And practicing the skill and doing the practices that builds your kind of base of
Yeah,
endurance of what you would need for your sport.
for sure.
Yeah.
But I do think that like from an overall health perspective and even a performance and recovery standpoint, doing more low intensity cardiovascular exercise is something that a lot of the people that are naturally like trending to more strength or high intensity stuff could definitely benefit from.
Yeah.
Even if your goal isn't to compete in anything or to do a race, like you
Yeah.
don't have to do a race to go out and go for a jog and get a benefit
Yeah,
from
you don't
that,
have to go to the local 5K or
Yep.
the marathon or anything like that to enjoy running or just start incorporating running
Yep.
into your health routine.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I know that you've dabbled into it from a different perspective in the last, I don't know, 5-ish years than maybe I have. And
Yeah.
I did the ultra in Colorado 2 years ago, almost now, and
How
that was the
far
whole
was that?
experience. 40 miles in the
Yeah.
mountains. It was wild.
And that's like different. You weren't like running, sprinting the whole time, right? It was like, I mean,
No,
you were like hiking, running.
the Comfort Crisis, one of the books that we have sitting here on the table, he
Yeah.
talks about the idea of doing a year-defining event every year, and the Japanese term for that is a misogi. And the misogi that I had that year was like, I want to do something difficult, but I want it to be outdoors. And part of the definition is like a 50-50 shot that you either can do it or you can't.
Yeah.
I had a buddy who was like, hey, let's go do this ultra. He ended up going a different direction, doing a different event than me. So it
Yeah.
was like kind of turned into a solo venture.
Yeah.
But
Well, me and the boys were there to support you.
You were there. Yes.
We stopped at the
You
aid
had your own
stations with
version of
you.
an ultra
I had
marathon
my
that
own
weekend
ultra
too.
that
Yeah, I
day.
think we could probably tell a little bit of that story. So
Yeah.
the goal for me was to finish the race.
Yeah.
It was not to compete in the
Yeah,
race.
you weren't trying to win it
No,
on your first one that you've ever done.
no.
Yeah.
And for context, the winner did it in like, gosh, it was like 6.5 to 7 hours.
Which was like half of
Yeah. So
when you
just to
did
give
it.
you, it's called the Never Summer 60K,
Yeah.
and it's in the Never Summer Mountains, about an hour and a half to 2 hours west of Fort Collins.
Yeah.
We were very strategic around everything training wise to get there. And then when we went out that way, we went out to like western Kansas where the elevation was like 3,000 feet above elevation,
Hmm.
stayed there for a couple, like a
A
day,
night.
a
Yeah.
night. Yeah. And then we went to Fort Collins, which is like 55,
Just to
6,000,
get you
stayed
acclimated
there
to the
for
elevation
3 nights.
change.
And then we went and stayed in the mountains at like 8,000 feet, stayed there for 2 or 3 nights. And then when we did the race, it started at 9,000 feet, all the way up to I think like 12-ish, 11, I don't remember. But it was a ton of elevation change. But we summited 2 peaks during the whole thing.
Mhm.
Um, it took me 13 hours and it was 39.5 miles to be exact. But I
Yeah.
think my pace was like 18 minutes a mile. It was not crazy. So
Yeah.
it was
But
like
you're like
a
moving
walk
for
jog.
13 hours. I
Yeah,
mean, you're
correct.
not stopping.
It
You
was
stop.
75,000 steps
There
that
was like
day.
what, 5 aid stations or I don't know, aid stations every so many
Yeah, the first one
miles.
was at like 10 miles. I remember the 20-mile mark, like right around the halfway was when I got to see you guys first.
Yeah.
And I was cruising at a really good pace all the way through that first half. My longest training run up to that point was around 22, 23 miles.
Hmm.
And then when I built up to it, I didn't go out and like run 100 miles a week. I did not train like a traditional ultra runner would. I did a lot of track workouts because I enjoy doing more like sprint intervals.
Yeah.
And then I would go out to the trails and I would just every week that I did a trail run, I would spend like an extra 30 minutes to an hour out there for like
Yeah.
a four to
And
five
just like
month.
moving
It was time on
nonstop.
feet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because my goal was finish it and don't get injured. Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget that whole experience. It's really cool. And it like spending that much time outdoors, one, but two, just like doing cardio was such a good thing for my mental
Yeah.
health because it forced me to be in my head and like as you guys have maybe figured out if you listen to these podcasts and you obviously know well, I'm a constant thinker. I don't slow down very well.
Yes.
So it was good for me to just kind of like work through my own shit in my head the whole time through.
And that's even just training for that is just
Hmm.
like long training hours. Like
Yeah.
every Sunday you'd go out and do your like
I was
long,
gone for like 6 hours every
yeah,
Sunday.
it was kind of like you were golfing, but you were running.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was your first really like experience of endurance
Yeah.
training
Yeah.
outside of like
Yeah.
strength training and things.
I've never done anything more than a 5K before
Yeah.
that. I think the longest I had ran before the training for that race was like 7 or 8 miles, maybe.
Yeah.
When we were helping a former colleague and friend
Yeah.
with pacing him for the Leadville
Leadville.
100
Yeah.
in 2019.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'll probably do another one someday. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't heard you say that before, so
Yeah. One of the things that we had on the radar later this year, I don't know if it'll happen because the wildfires and stuff out in the Southwest, but I wanted to do the rim to rim, and that's like 24 miles. It's close to an ultra.
yeah.
It'd be like a marathon of hiking, basically.
Hmm.
And now at this point, I'm like, if I've done it before, I could do it again. You know how
Yeah.
it goes?
Yeah. You're like, oh, I've done that. I can do this one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, anything, the first time you do it, you learn a lot of things, but
Well, that was like our first High Rocks, right?
mhm.
And that was a running race that we knew was going to be a running race, but you don't really know until you like are doing it and you're like, "Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I need to be a better runner."
It's funny. Somebody asked me literally this morning, like, how much were you running whenever you got up to your peak before the High Rocks?
Like not
I was
enough.
like 30 miles, and they're like, in a week? And I was like, no, in a month. And they're like, oh shit.
You're like,
A
"Oh,
lot of the people
okay."
that are like competitive in that are training like 15 to 20 miles a week.
Yeah.
And obviously our goal wasn't to go out and win the damn thing. That's
We
not
were
why we're
just
doing it, but
going out
we
to
did want to be more competitive than we were, and I think we've learned a lot of lessons with that. So,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
So with your ultra though, you had the ultra. I was like lugging the boys. We had like a 3-year-old and a not even 1-year-old.
Yeah,
No,
you
he
wouldn't have even
wasn't
been
even.
one
He
yet.
was like 7 months or something, 8 months maybe.
Yeah.
And so I was like lugging two little boys around from one aid station, waiting 3 more hours till we go to the next one. So I was
Yep.
like trying to find things to do in the mountains with a baby and a
Yeah.
almost 3-year-old.
From like 5:30 in the morning to
Yes.
6:30 at night.
Yeah, it was like a super long
Yeah,
day.
you had your own version of an
I
ultra
did. It
marathon that
was a
day.
very different experience,
Yeah.
but no, that was cool. And it was fun to be outside and do things in nature and
But
whatnot.
I will tell you from my experience in that, people talk about core memories, right? And things that will never leave you. It reminds me of
Like the
Inside Out.
movie Inside Out. I
Yeah.
was just gonna say that.
They got the little ball with the core memory.
Yeah.
One of my greatest core memories is when I was getting ready to come across the finish
Yeah.
line,
Yeah.
and Julian, at that time 3 years old, comes sprinting out to where I'm at, and I got to pick him up and carry him through the finish line. And
Yeah.
just like that moment was one of the most rewarding things I've ever done, because I'd worked really hard for that all the way up to that point.
Yeah.
And to get him to see that, and my mom had made shirts that said "Run, Daddy, Run." You guys were wearing them, and I didn't know you had them. Like,
Yeah.
very, very fulfilling moment in my life from an athletic standpoint. I think that that alone was probably worth all the hours and those types of things. That one moment, you know what I
Well,
mean?
and that was your first experience with
Yep,
longer distance running,
yep,
right? Right now, I'm training for my first ever half marathon.
yep.
Before I had started training for this, I had never ran more than like 3 miles, 5 miles,
Probably 5 or 6. Yeah,
Yeah, I had just started running last year in general,
yeah.
like again. I mean, like I said, we've ran,
Since having kids
but even before kids, oh, I guess, I mean, we trained for
in
Leadville. So I did
2019,
2019, we did some a stint of running
we
more
were it was like
regularly.
March through
We
August.
used to do like
We
track
were
workouts
also
a
super
lot.
motivated because we were going to Greece for a
Wedding.
wedding and honeymoon,
Yeah.
and we wanted to look good. And
Well,
like
and we were helping Z train for
for
Leadville. And so
Leadville, yeah,
there was a lot of different components to
yep.
that. But anyway, since having kids, I hadn't really done much running.
Hmm.
And I was like, we did the high rocks. I was like, okay, I kind of want to challenge myself and do a half marathon. I've never ran more than, a few miles, and let's do it. So I'm right this moment as of recording, I'm like 6 or 7 weeks out.
Today's February 19th.
It's
This will
on.
drop in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, so I'll be like a month out from it. I'll be like
Yeah.
4 weeks out from my half marathon, which I'm excited for. I've been training. I'm running 3-ish days a week and doing a high rocks class, and there's some running in there too. So 3 to 4 days a
Lifting.
week,
Yeah.
and that's the most I've ever been. I've been consistent with it for a while now.
Yeah.
And it's honestly building the base of just like your general endurance is the hardest part because
Yep.
it's boring. You feel slow and you're like, this is hard. I'm not good at this. This isn't fun for
Very
me.
humbling,
It's very, very humbling.
especially for us, because I would argue that due to the fact that we've always been in sports and always been
We've been active people
athletic
our
and
whole
active,
life. And so,
to step into this realm, it has felt very foreign.
yes, it like kind of kicks you in the bum a little bit that your
Yep.
ego, it like
Yeah.
makes you kind of second guess. You're like, I thought I was good at
I thought I
stuff.
was
I
fit.
thought I was fit. And then you try to go run and hit a certain pace and you're like, oh my gosh, that was so hard.
Yeah.
So we're learning new lessons and building up our base because I'm only a year in to just like running again and I'm still like not that fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean compared to like competitive runners,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm like, man, you'd think I'd be faster by now, but like it takes a long time to get fast.
Yeah. Well, and I think it goes back to like, what does fast mean? Because if you were training to
Yeah.
get out on the track and you were running a sprint or anything at 400 meters or less,
Yeah,
you're probably going to move pretty quick compared to the average person your age.
for sure.
So in that environment, you are fast, but that's where we go back to circle around that is anaerobic. That is not aerobic fitness. That is
Yeah.
short burst speed.
Yeah.
So you can be fast without being fast over a long period of time. That's why you
But to,
build that
but to
aerobic
run 13
health correct.
miles and sustain, the
An 8 minute or less pace. Yeah,
yeah,
it's moving.
I'm not gonna be that fast.
It's all right. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
But
no.
that's what that in
But
my
that's like
mind that's fast. You know what I
that's
mean?
for sure.
For an endurance type
And
of
I think it
sport.
takes a while to build yourself up to that. So, yeah, we're going through a little ego drop right now with incorporating running into our routine and learning how to get good at it.
I think that's the beauty of fitness, though, right? Like the
Yeah.
deeper lesson here is that you can be really good in one lane or one avenue of
Yeah.
fitness and have a ton of opportunity to be a beginner in another.
Yeah.
And I think that was a big part of why this has been so good for us, is that it's pushing us out of our comfort zone and forcing us to try to, really like raise the bar in the areas where we maybe aren't
Hmm.
in the higher level or more advanced. Because like from like I said, from a strength and power standpoint, like we're both probably going to perform really well.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this aerobic side of things, it's just
Yeah.
a different story.
Which has been kind of fun for us with these high rocks
Mhm.
races. We are doing another one because I know you chatted with Morgan on her podcast to kind of redeem ourselves from the first one because we
Mhm.
didn't do as good as we were hoping to.
Yep.
And so we've signed up for another one and we're continuing to build our base of strength and endurance so we can do better than we did last time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Well, I think transitioning away from our story so much into like our professional experience,
Yeah.
understanding something and being good at are two separate things. Physiology behind running is not rocket science, really. But I think a lot of times people struggle or don't see progress with it because of something you mentioned earlier. They just go out and like hit the pavement.
Yeah. They just go
And
run.
yep. And I think that it's not just like, hey, go run and see how many miles you can do. And you're like, man, I ran 2 miles in 18 minutes and that was really hard. And it's like, well, how are you breathing?
Mm.
You know, were you relaxed?
How was your
How was your
stride, like
stride?
your gait? And
If you are someone who is open to the idea of wearing a heart rate monitor, that can be very helpful. But even then, you can use breathing as more of a gauge or a
Mhm.
speedometer or like a governor, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
for your intensity. But if you're running at the same pace every time you go out, you're never really going to make a lot of improvements because one of the things that has been really helpful for us to spend our time around as we've worked on this is that you have to have slow days, you have to have interval days or threshold type days. Those two can kind of be different styles. And then you have to have speed days.
Hmm.
But you've got to spend most of your time at the lower intensity where most people want to go out and really push themselves every time they go out and work out
Yeah.
because the stereotype is that the more I'm breathing, the more I'm sweating, the more tired and sore I am, the more successful I am. And it's just not that black and white.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, right now I'm following a half marathon training plan
Mm-hmm.
because I've never run one, so I needed to follow somebody else's
She
programming
hired a
for this.
coach.
I know I hired a coach. And it's one like just kind of easier day,
Mm-hmm.
zone two, easy day. And then it's like a speed work interval day, and then a long day, a long distance day.
Which is also low intensity
Yeah, yeah. So
in regards to like the like how fast you're going.
for sure, because you're just focusing on distance and you're not trying to like hit a certain like time and go super fast. You're just
Yep.
like doing the
How
distance.
long can
But
I spend moving on my feet?
yes, yeah. So it's you got to have different styles of training to then improve your overall result or output or capacity.
Yep. So if you think about this, look at it from like call it 3 to 4 different styles of days you could do, depending on how many days a week you're going to do. If you really want to get better at anything, you should probably do it 3 days a week. That goes for strength training,
Yeah.
that goes for running, that
Yeah.
goes for any skill-based activity. Like if you're not doing it 3 days a week, you're probably not going to make significant progress.
Hmm.
But if you're doing 3 days, it would be a relatively easy day, a interval or speed day, and then a long base day.
Hmm.
If you're gonna do 4 days, you would go low intensity, high intensity, low intensity, high intensity, right? Like you want to alternate. Hard days are hard and easy days are easy.
Hmm.
And hard can be defined as a couple things, but like, because you could look at like, I'm gonna run, say for example, your long run is 10 miles, which I think your next one is 10
Yeah.
miles.
This week it's 9, next week it's 10.
Okay, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I know you did 9 last time you had
Yeah.
mentioned it, but
Yeah.
that's a long day and that could be perceived as hard. Structurally, it would be hard on your body because it's just a long time on your feet and a long
Hmm.
time running.
It's pounding on the
But
joints and stuff.
intensity wise, from like a heart rate standpoint and a breathing standpoint, you won't be like dying the whole time through.
Correct. Yeah.
It's more like, do I have the resilience structurally, which is why strength training is so good to do
And
for endurance and
mentally
mentally.
to keep going for
Yeah.
this long,
Yeah.
for
Because
this
there's going to
amount
be
of
times where you're
time.
like, oh, I want to walk. But that's like anything in life. Like, I want to slow down. I don't like this. I'm
Yeah.
uncomfortable. It's like, okay, well, do you have to? Are you going
Yeah.
to die if you don't?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna be okay,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's been good for us both from like a mental health standpoint. Is just like pushing through those
Yeah.
mental barriers, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Finishing what I was saying, 4 days you could do like one day is like a speed day. So say for example you do shorter intervals, faster pace, and maybe you do I don't know 4 to 8 reps. Time and rest breaks are solely dependent on how much you want your total volume to be, but that day might be relatively short. The next day you do like a recovery run where you're doing call it I don't know 1 to 3 miles of 1 to 5 miles. Once again the volume is going to be contextual,
Mhm.
but that's like low intensity. So I'm like up and then I'm down. Then your threshold day would be like I'm working to push my pace and extend at a higher intensity over a longer period of time. So instead of like short, fast intervals, maybe they're moderate to high intensity over a longer period of time just to like really train your body to raise your ceiling on your capacity.
Yeah.
And then the long day being like low and slow.
Just pushing your miles in
pushing your
general.
miles. Yeah. And then typically, I read a book, I think it was like the Essentials for Ultra Marathoning. I don't even remember what it was, but I'd listened to a book. I think it was Jason Cooper was the guy's name. When I was preparing for that ultra, I was on my feet a lot. So I was like plugging in an audiobook and listening to what this guy has to say. And he had a lot of strategy around how much to increase your intensity or volume over the course of a week to week.
Yeah.
And he talked about how it's different at different variations or durations of race prep. Like for anything at a marathon or less, you could build your mileage up week over week and then take a deload and then build back up. So you're working like ascending as you progress.
Yeah.
Where with an ultra, because it's just so much on your joints, you would do week one would be your highest intensity week for that block and the highest volume, and then you would descend in intensity and volume and then reset at the top. So instead of staircasing up, you would staircase down. It's kind of an interesting thought
Yeah.
process.
Well, it's just like strength training. There's so many different ways that you can go about it depending on what your goal is and what you're training for and what the purpose is for you. So,
And like strength training, you probably shouldn't try to go too hard, too much, too fast.
yeah.
Like doing anything more than a 10% increment on your total volume or intensity every week is probably not going to be great, right? So
Yeah.
carry this over to doing a back squat. I'm not going to go up by 25 pounds every week. You know, like I'm going to add
Yeah.
maybe 5 pounds on each side and I'm going to slowly take that up by like small percentages and just let that play out over time.
Yeah.
But consistency is definitely the name of the game, and making sure that you're consistently doing the variety of things that are going to raise the bar on your overall aerobic fitness, not just go out and run.
Yeah. Well, and what is running doing for us that lifting maybe isn't hitting in terms of our physical capacities,
Yeah.
right?
Well, like conditioning is the internal engine,
Yeah.
where strength training is the structural stability. So, like, think of a muscle car. You can have something that looks really sexy on the outside, but if it's got like a little baby golf cart engine on the inside of it, like it's not, it'll look pretty,
Yeah.
but it's not going to perform.
Perform.
But if you have something that's like you put a V8 in a golf cart,
Yeah.
that ain't going to work very well either because it's not going to handle the power that it has, you know?
No, it's a good
Back to analogies,
analogy.
right?
Yeah. It's like,
It's one of those things too where you got to think about. There's one class that was an advanced exercise science class that I'll never forget. And it was cardiovascular physiology. And I just thought it was really intriguing to understand how the cardiovascular system works. And it's everything from like not just your heart rate, but your stroke volume and how much blood is getting pushed out in every time that your heart beats. And then your ability to peripherally circulate that back up to your heart. So a lot of people don't know training your calves is one of the most important things you could possibly do. And that's why running is so good when you can structurally handle it and you have the physical capacity to be able to handle the impact, is that it gives you the jolt to help drive the blood back up to your heart and improves your circulatory health.
say so it's supporting circulation
Yes,
and
circulation,
yeah.
cardiovascular efficiency.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you think about it, when you look, not to be morbid, when you look at the risk of people dying,
Yeah.
it's either because they structurally cannot handle their body aging because they haven't built that physical structure, they haven't strength trained and
Yeah.
maintained activity, or internally, they haven't really challenged their body to stay efficient or to, and this is where like nutrition plays a big role in some of these things too, right?
Yeah.
And recovery and sleep and
Oh,
hydration,
yeah, for
right?
sure.
But like your internal system has to operate. So you got to look at both sides of the equation.
Yeah.
And if you're somebody that looks really fit, but you have not been doing anything to focus on your cardiovascular health,
Yeah.
that will be a limiting factor no matter how hot you look with your shirt off, you know what I mean? Or in a
Yeah.
bikini.
Well, and it also supports like your lymph system because of
Yep.
the pounding on the pavement and
Yep.
the I don't want to say jiggle that your body gets,
Jolt.
jolt that your
Yeah.
body gets. It's going to help your body just like drain your lymph
Well, I think about
system.
even when we've gone through periods of time where we've had like allergy issues or
Yeah.
sinus issues, we'll go out and like go for a jog and it actually just clears everything up.
Or even just a walk
Yeah.
too, just or like an intense walk, like a fast walk or
Yeah.
something.
Something like a zone 2,
Yeah.
breathe in and out of my nose. I'm not sucking wind, but I
Yeah.
can get my heart rate up to a point where I can manage my control of my breath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just helps things flush in your system, promotes blood flow, which also helps that, right? I mean, it's all ties in together.
Yeah, and even if you are somebody who's really focused more on like what lifting can do for you, maybe it's strength or power or just looking better and building muscles,
Yeah. Which,
doing base cardio is going to help you recover. When you start to get more circulation, you're driving more opportunity
Yeah.
for mitochondrial density and other things that are going to help replenish
Yeah.
your energy stores and help your body flush out any of the waste products that you get from breaking down your muscles,
Hmm.
or, like working really hard in the gym from a strength standpoint.
Yeah, well, and I think that's why it's important to separate your strength training from your running. So even if you are doing something on the same day, because that's how it worked out with your schedule, your life, whatever, have your strength training be a separate session in
Yep.
your day than you're running. So
Yep.
you're actually you're able to put forth the effort to both of them as you want to
Yep.
because you are fueled and can withstand that. But it's just going to support, yeah, the blood flow to recover from your strength training session earlier in the
Yep.
day.
That
I
makes
think that was
sense.
important when I was doing like bodybuilding. It was like you do your strength and then doing your cardio like later was a way to kind of gap your recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like we've talked about before, like micro workouts and doing,
Yeah.
even if it's like, hey, I'm only going to do like 30 minutes here, 15 minutes there, whatever it might be, like
Hmm.
frequency is going to be better than duration. So the more frequent you move your body, the more you're going to be able to handle it than if you do 1 2 hour long workout
Yeah.
and then don't do shit the rest of the day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Another thing that's a massive value to improving your aerobic health is your VO2 max.
Yeah.
The higher your VO2 max, the healthier your heart, the better your aerobic capacity and your endurance output is going to be, at least your ceiling for that. And typically, it's almost directly correlated or strongly correlated with lower all-cause mortality. So if I have a better aerobic base and a better aerobic engine, I'm going to be able to live longer,
Yeah.
which we all want.
Yeah, for
You know what I
sure.
mean? So I think that just in general, cardiorespiratory fitness is probably, as long as you're not significantly lacking muscle mass,
Hmm.
is probably a bigger indicator of long-term health than muscle is.
What was didn't they just like announce that somebody got the new highest like VO2 max
It's like
ever on record?
111, I can't remember what the units
I know.
are.
It was like insane though.
Milliliters per kilogram per minute, I think, maybe.
Yeah.
But
Whatever the ratio
we
is.
used
Yeah.
to, when I worked at Lifetime, they would do VO2
Yeah.
submax tests, and you can go to a couple different places around town and still do that.
Yeah.
And I remember the best I ever got was like a 52.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, that was when that was in like 2019 when we were
Yeah.
running a lot.
Younger and
I was younger. Yeah. I bet I'm probably like still close to 50. I bet
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I
I'd
need
be
to check it
interested
out.
to try
The
it
Garmin
again.
watch tells you. Let's see if it's in here.
Yeah, but that's not going to be quite as
Oh, sure it is.
accurate as
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it
you
is.
getting hooked up to a machine, it reading your breathing output and your heart
This is my
rate.
VO2 max right now is 45.
I don't know if mine does, and if it does, tell me. You know me. I don't even use all the features on my watch,
Yeah,
so
we butt heads about that.
I don't know
So
where it would be on
I
my
was like,
watch.
oh, cool. How was your run today? And you're like, it was really good. And I was like, where was your heart rate at? And you're like, well, I didn't wear
I
my
didn't
heart
wear
rate
my heart
monitor.
rate strap. I mean, my watch told me, but I didn't wear my
Oh man,
strap.
don't start this. The watch is not as accurate as the chest strap
I
is. You
know
know that.
that, but
I don't
I'm not a
care.
data person like you. I don't need it all the time.
Yeah, my argument was not so much that you need to care, but I'm curious for you.
Well, I'm not gonna wear it just because you're curious for me. That's a
Um,
story for another
yeah,
time.
we won't pick on that anymore. The longevity case about this too, like we talked about the VO2 max standpoint. Another thing that people don't think about is insulin sensitivity.
Yeah, totally.
It's also going to help with blood sugar management and your body's ability to stabilize your blood sugar and use your energy or your
Mhm.
metabolism better.
Yeah. Just like strength training and having muscle mass does.
Yep,
I mean, they both are gonna
in their own ways,
yeah, yeah,
right?
they're both gonna support that.
But you got to think about aerobic fitness, lower intensity cardiovascular exercise is typically going to be more of an oxidative aerobic oxygen fuel source, where anaerobic, higher intensity, anaerobic, less oxygen, right? We're in science
Are
class.
they?
Welcome. The aerobic side of things, like with more oxygen, that is going to be using more of a fat source as fuel.
Mm,
Versus if you're doing something that's higher intensity, more anaerobic, you're going to be using more like carbohydrate sources.
yeah.
Which is why I'm asking you where your heart rate is. Because I'm like, are you burning carbs? Are you burning fat? Are you efficient? Because if we're going to race together, like I need to know where
Just
you're
know
at.
I'm efficient and it's all good over here.
Okay. Yeah.
No,
Blind trust
not
sounds great.
really.
But no, I think that that's huge. And then it's going to improve your resting heart rate, which I think most
Yeah.
people understand that you only get so many ticks. And if your body's working at 80 beats a minute just sitting here hanging out,
That's
like
not a good sign.
that's not a good sign.
What is, off the top of your head, if you know a general range, what is a healthy RMR?
Healthy would RMR, resting heart rate,
Or yeah, resting heart rate.
RHR.
What's the RMR?
resting metabolic rate.
Okay, I was like, I
That would
know
be like
RMR.
how many calories you burn at rest.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
you're good.
Your resting heart rate.
You're good. Anything under 60 is like
Good.
baseline healthy.
Oh, okay.
Anything under 50 is like, okay, you're pretty fit.
Yeah.
If you can get like in the low 40s, I think that's like
And
optimal.
that's like
Endurance
ultra,
athletes.
yeah, endurance athletes
I
have
mean,
generally
not
like
even not even just
40s.
that. You don't have to be great with endurance to have a good resting heart rate. Like
Totally.
I am not a
Oh, you can
what's your
see
heart
it
rate
on
right
your
now?
watch? I don't know. What's my
My
heart rate right
my
now?
lowest resting point today was at 54. And I know on my Oura ring, like when I sleep, I'm in like the mid to low 40s.
My lowest today since I've put my watch on because I don't sleep with it on
Yep.
has been at 47.
See, there you go.
I'm fit.
You're not an ultra marathon athlete.
I'm not an
Yeah.
ultra marathon athlete
Yeah.
at all.
So I think it's one of those things that like, yes, that does have the opportunity to
Yeah.
improve that. It's all relative, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is going to help with stress reduction. It's going to help with mood regulation, the endorphins you get. You hear people talk about runner's highs.
Yeah.
Like that's a thing.
Endorphins make you happy, and happy people just don't shoot their husbands.
Where did you get that from?
Nate, do you know? It's from Legally Blonde. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
It's like the
missed that
most
reference.
famous line about
Do you know
endorphins
how to use a gun?
ever.
Wow. That one
Wow.
just caught me so far off
I
guard.
guess. I can't believe you don't know. You're not a rom-com guy. You
No,
don't
I'm the
know
furthest
that.
thing from a rom-com
You're like,
guy.
you never watch rom-coms with me. Okay. There's gonna be people out there who listen to this and are gonna be like, I knew exactly what she was talking about when she said that.
And they're gonna love you for that.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Endorphins are a good thing.
endorphins are a good thing. I was like, where did we even stop? I think another thing too is it just plays on what you said. Patience,
Yeah.
humility, ego.
Hmm.
I think it forces you from a mental standpoint to really identify, like you have to force identify yourself with someone who can just like sit in something uncomfortable for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I put a poll up on my Instagram story, I don't know, a few weeks ago.
Yep.
And it was when it was really cold here in Kansas, and I had to do some of my running on a treadmill, and it was like 7 miles on a treadmill. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like so. I was like just staring out the window. And I put a poll up. I was like, what do you listen to when you're running? Do you listen to music?
AKA, how do you distract
Like, how do
yourself?
you distract yourself when you're running like longer distances? Because, like, a couple miles, okay, you can get by with a couple songs or whatever, right? But when you get past a certain point, you kind of get bored and you're like, okay, I need something to stimulate my
Especially when you're
brain
used
while
to
I'm
just like pulling your
going.
phone out and opening Instagram
Totally. And you
instead.
can't just like scroll Instagram while you're running, right? It's not really an option. So I was like, what do you listen to? And the options were like music,
A movie, a
a
podcast.
movie, or a podcast, or like an audio book, or do you just like not listen to anything? Do you raw dog it? And it was pretty split between like music, podcasts, audiobooks, and movies, like
Yeah.
when you're on a treadmill. Now
Yeah.
I know that's different when you're out on the streets and stuff running because you can't watch a movie while
I
you're,
think it depends on the intensity too, because like
yeah,
if I'm doing something hard, I want music.
yeah,
If I'm doing something chill and I'm just like out for a leisure, low intensity jog and
yeah.
the birds are chirping, like it's kind of nice to just like not listen to anything.
I don't know that I never not listen to anything, but I might have just like slower music or like not like blaring hard music in my
There's even times where
ears.
I work out and I just put my headphones in, but don't actually listen to anything.
Just so it muffles a little bit of stuff, but
Yeah, it
you
just like
still
kind of
hear.
turns me inward,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, it's
And if
interesting though, because
yeah,
when you're running so maybe so long or you're getting into it, like your brain, you just get to this point and you're like, okay, I'm like getting bored. I like it. So it's hard. It's very challenging to sit with your own thoughts,
yeah,
and it's easy to distract yourself with like music or a book
yeah,
or a podcast or something.
yeah. Well, let's transition into how to really like make this come to life.
Yeah.
Because obviously we talked about how important it is, but
Yeah.
we can also probably guide some people who are maybe looking to say, you know what,
I should start
I,
running.
I should start running. Or if you can't run, you
Yeah.
can cycle, you can swim, you can walk on an incline, you can row. The idea is more around building your aerobic capacity, not so much running. Running's just probably the most accessible
In the
option
most
and the
common
most
way,
common
probably.
purely because it's like you need nothing. You don't need a pool.
Well, you
You don't
need
need a
tennis
bike.
shoes, but that's
You
it.
don't have to have shoes. I actually read a book called
Awfully
Born to Run,
uncomfortable without
and
it.
I would not start barefoot running out of the gate. Maybe wear barefoot shoes a little bit, but I read a book called Born to Run,
Yeah.
and the guy was talking about how a lot of modern shoes are actually horrible for people.
That's why we like ultras.
Yes, if we could get a
Little
plug on
shout
them,
out,
yeah.
ultra.
ALTRA, Ultras, wide toe box,
Yeah.
mostly lower drops, so you don't have these giant arches.
Yeah.
But yeah, being able to have something where your feet can
Yeah.
splay.
Because most shoes, your feet are like crunched in,
Yeah,
and so it's important to wear like a wide toe box shoe, especially for running. So you don't feel like you're running on like half of your foot because your toes
yep,
are so like on top of each other,
yep,
right?
yep. So get some ultras, but other than that, I mean, you don't really need a whole lot else of that. So I'd say that like if you can handle the impact of that without, any structural or joint issues,
Yeah.
certainly the best route to go or the easiest route to go. But as a reminder, you need to mix your intensities. Don't go out and just like
Yeah.
go all hard or go all easy. Like you need to do a mixture of things and have some strategy behind it. If you're trying to train for a race, hire a coach.
Yeah. Hire a coach, especially if you've
Yeah.
never like because
And it could
there's
be you can do that for like as little as probably 25 to 50 bucks a month for online apps for coaching and like
yeah, for
how to do that,
sure.
right? It didn't have to be go
Totally.
work with somebody in person 3 days a
No,
week.
but to follow a plan that somebody who knows what they're doing put together to help you figure out how many miles should I run here? What kind of intervals do I
Yeah,
do?
and if you are a
Like,
client at Avexia, we have running programs in our app.
yes.
So if you're wondering, if you're listening to this and you're like, man, I wonder if they can help me with that, don't go buy another app. Just ask a coach.
Just,
We got you. We can help you figure that out.
yeah.
Morgan's been putting running programs in. I've actually been following ours
Yeah.
in this last couple weeks, and we can help with all things aerobic capacity. Even though what we do in person is mostly strength focused, and then more of the interval conditioning with more strength modalities, like we can 100% help you put a plan together for
Yeah,
building
that's
your
stuff
aerobic
that you can be
base.
doing outside of when you're with us,
Correct. Yeah,
at
because you don't need
home.
a trainer to stand beside you while you're doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
But having some community and asking other people and following a program for what we have in the app, I
Yeah.
think is an easy place to go. And as far as intensities go, a really good takeaway is like the breathing assessment. And the really good general theme is to think about this in like gears of a car. So if you're in gear one of a car, it's like just past idle, doesn't take a whole lot
Mm-hmm.
of effort. That would be breathing in and out of your nose. So just only nasal breathing.
Yeah.
When you transition into like gear two or like gear three, and you're starting to try to like push the pace a little bit more, it would be like more of a heavier nasal breathe, and then transition from like a heavy nasal breathing to in the nose and out the mouth, and then transitioning to more just mouth breathing at higher intensities.
Yeah.
But if you can't talk while you're going, that is going to be like high intensity effort.
Yeah.
If you can't hold a conversation or have to like get at least like 5 or 6 words out without coming back in,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably like your high intensity effort. And you shouldn't be doing that for 30 minutes straight unless you're also using other low intensity days to counterbalance that.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
for
using
sure.
your breath is a huge key too,
That's an easy way,
and paying
especially
attention
if
to
you
that.
don't know your zones or have a smartwatch that's telling you
Yep.
zones based off of your age and your endurance and
Seal
all that
those
kind of
lips and
stuff.
keep the air coming in and out of your nose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then with that as well, also just really trying to put a cadence to your steps or your pace. So I'm going to take 4 steps on a breath in, 4 steps on a breath out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2.
Just
That's
kind of
helped me a lot.
finding a
Rhythm.
rhythm to
Yeah.
your stride and just kind of getting in the zone and just,
Yeah, and
yeah.
any of these types of like conditioning, cardio, aerobic based methods, whatever they might be, we define them as cyclical movements because you're getting into a cycle of being able to repeat that and being able to put a pattern to the cycle where I'm breathing in on the cyclical, then breathing out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that really helps too. So you can actually use your breathing muscles appropriately and
Yeah.
not just like breathing out of your chest the whole time
Yeah.
through all of it. But like anything, this stuff takes consistency and it does not come overnight. You will actually see aerobic gains faster than strength gains.
I was gonna say it takes a long time to like build muscle and build substantial
Y-
strength too.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. But you'll see, like, and this is nothing I remember from that class I was telling you about in college, but like the ability for your aerobic system and your cardiovascular system to adapt happens faster than your body's ability to build muscle, but it also goes away quicker as
if you
well.
don't keep up with it.
Yeah,
So
so
consistency
consistency is
is
absolutely
key,
key for this.
just like anything.
And remember, it's not about like, I want to go run a race. This is about improving your lifestyle, your longevity, your
Yeah.
efficiency, and it will support the other goals that you have. And it's important to do because it's not just go to the gym, lift weights, I'm healthy.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of other components, but from a physical fitness standpoint, at that baseline of movement, getting your steps in, but then what am I doing to challenge myself just above the intensity of just going for a walk?
Yeah.
Because that's where this really fits in. It's not really hard. I'm pushing myself, but it's not walking. It's where do you find that notch above walking?
Yeah.
And I think that that's the best place for people to really get that stimulus.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Well, and overall, I mean, getting outside is super supportive for your mental health,
Hmm.
breathing in fresh air, listening to the birds chirping,
Yeah.
right? I know they seem so mundane and simple, but like they're so good for you.
Yeah, I think it just forces you to slow down.
Yeah.
And the world we live in is fast.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you're not intentional about, pressing the brakes, you can get caught up in the
The rat
mix.
race,
Yeah.
the day to day. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Absolutely.
So your homework, get a little cardiovascular aerobic conditioning in.
Go for a run, a bike ride, swimming.
Yeah. And
Maybe.
just start with like 20 minutes a week
Yeah.
and build it up depending on whatever you want your goals to be.
Yeah.
And if you need help, you know where to find us. See you guys later.
This episode of the Higher Form podcast is powered by Avexia Health and Performance, your home for smart training, simple nutrition, and real accountability. Built to help you look, feel, and perform your best. Whether you're just getting started or chasing your next level, visit AvexiaKC.com to learn more and start building your higher form today.